Ask and you shall receive. Let's get into it. So the Falahides are a really interesting case. They were the second group of what would become known as hobbits to cross over the Misty Mountains into Eriador about a century after the Harfoots. After making that crossing, they slowly went down the river Horwell and then traveled westward even more. The tallest and least numerous of the subgroups of hobbits is depicted here on the right. The Falahides, interestingly, are where the two founding members of the Shire originated. So the Falahides had migrated slowly down the Horwell and eventually ended up in the Bree land. They tend to be the more woodland-dwelling, very elf-like, as it's stated in the prologue of The Lord of the Rings, but they traveled west of Bree about 300 years after that initial migration, and led by Marco and Blanco, two Falahide brothers, who crossed the Bridge of Stone Boughs, now called the Brandywine Bridge, and ended up settling in the Shire. Now, it wasn't called the Shire at this time. It was actually, I believe, hunting and fertile lands for agriculture in the Kingdom of Arthedain, one of the splinter kingdoms of Arnor after its fall. They were granted the land by King Argaleb II. And interestingly, while the subsequent centuries of the hobbits existing in the Shire, we saw a dwindling of these three kind of lineages, and they basically just crossbred until who really knew the difference. They seem to be well represented in the Tooks, the Bolgers, and the Brandybuck. So, interestingly, and very similarly to we see with the lineages of men and elves in the First Age, and again, really in the Third Age too with Aragorn, as well as Eärendil, there's this kind of through line of the intermixing of different peoples leading to a stronger outcome. It's not about purity, it's more about interconnectedness and community. And we see that being played out again in our fellowship, because look at who most of the hobbits in the fellowship are. They are a Took, a Brandybuck, and a Baggins, who had plenty of Brandybuck and Tookish ancestry.